So today we're going to have a really fascinating talk about surveys. Our clients typically will ask us, should we do a survey or not do a survey?
Two days ago I had a closing and the attorney sat down and fully explained to the buyer the reasons why he should have had a survey done, although we did tell him several times that we thought he should have a survey done. For one thing, title insurance will not cover you if they find some type of a problem after the fact. So he said, well, let me get a survey now. And she said, well, it's too late now. We're sitting here at the closing table. You can get a survey done, but the title insurance will not cover any defects.
And isn't it fascinating though, you think about this, about a survey, what all the information that gives you about your property. A survey actually helps you find know where your points are on your property, where the location of each corner is, as well as the setbacks of, are you within county codes and city codes? Is there any encroachments going on from your neighbor? Is there any issues with how your setbacks are? Or is there any easements? Most surveys have easements just because utility easements go between. A lot of your larger subdivisions will have easements going between properties.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very low cost for a very high expense if you find an issue afterwards.
About 10 years ago, I had a little family moving here from another state, and they bought new construction. And I said, you really should have a survey. And they were like, no, we're good. We know where our lines are. We don't need to worry about it. And I said, but I'm telling you, you should really have a survey done. And come to find out, about 6 months after that closed, I got a phone call and they said, the builder called us and there's a problem. He didn't have enough land. He didn't mark his land for the house behind us correctly. So we have a problem. And I said, I hate to say this, but you should have had a survey done. I mean, it can cause a lot of problems.
Oh, it does. A survey, when you think about it, it has so many different, each county is different, each city is different. Some cities have a 5-foot setback from where you put any kind of building, where the county may have a larger setback away. Whether you put a storage building up, a garage up, where you put your fence at, you have to make sure you're checking into your city, county, and municipalities, that word municipalities, codes of where you're going to be set you back at. So a lot of folks try to save that extra dollar getting a permit, which you should have a permit, and that's a whole nother discussion for another time. But the survey it really tells you where your house sets out, how far away. So a survey is very important to have completed.
I don't know if you remember this, but about 10 years ago, one of our friends, another agent friend, was selling a house and found out that the built-in pool that her client had installed was about 2 feet into the neighbor's yard.
Oh, wow.
A built-in pool. It's not something you just pick up.
Well, neighbors had free access to that 2 feet of pool, right?
No. that was a disaster.
It was. Well, also a survey will point this out too, which has been a nightmare. We had a house that we sold that was a nightmare because this particular property had an off-site septic system. And if you didn't have the survey done, you wouldn't know it had an off-site septic system, which means you have 2 different properties. Your house sits on one property, and your septic system is on a whole nother deeded lot. And if that's not surveyed ahead of time, you would never know that, which in our case, our buyer purchased a house that was foreclosure, and the previous owner's attorney did not catch the other lot. Two previous attorneys missed that because the survey was never done, and it caused delays in closings for us because we had to track down the builder. The original was still assigned to the original builder.
Actually, the very first owner was in prison, and we had to drive to the prison to get him to sign a quitclaim deed on that lot before we could close.
Yeah, so surveys are important. I would spend the extra money for a survey. The other thing to keep in mind about a survey, it's not something you can really decide 3 weeks into your home purchase process. You want to make sure that decision is made up front when you get the contract done, because much like an appraiser and a home inspection, your survey should be done during your due diligence period, because anything that arises on that survey, if there's encroachments, if there's any kind of setback issues, that falls back on the homeowner to correct before. So if you do it during due diligence, you're going to get it wrapped up. The last thing on that is, remember, a survey takes sometimes up to 3 to 4 weeks to be completed. So again, if you're going to do a survey, do it right away up front, make that decision, and find out where your property lines are. Make sure there's no encroachments. Things can change.
And it's nice that they'll flag it. I mean, they'll put flags on each one of your corners, so you'll exactly know where everything is. When we purchased our first home, we did not get a survey. We didn't get a survey. And we had thought we knew where the fence should go, but it turns out that when the builder sold the house behind us, it was in the wrong place. And guess who had to have the fence moved?
So lesson learned on our part on that. So remember, a survey actually gives you, if you're purchasing, like Doreen said earlier, if you're purchasing a property, you do not do a survey, your title insurance will not cover that survey, any survey issues after you close. She just had a recent closing with an attorney that stressed that to the buyers because they did not have one done.
Although we stressed it while they were under contract.
So, any other further questions on surveys, feel free to reach out to us. Yeah, we have a lot of knowledge in this area. And Doreen, anything else?
I can't think of anything.
Get a survey.
Get a survey, yes.